Hello, welcome to another Roundup video. You, or maybe not yet, know I sometimes do debunk videos. I especially like the ones I can do with crude math, so crude that even if I am 30% off it still stands. I just use grade school math and a little geometry. No academic words, so even the dumbest creationist flat earth believer or any other conspiracy theorist must understand. I think you get the picture. In one of the videos I have a different voice. I was surprised hearing it myself. Perhaps a glitch in my matrix, right? Here are 3 of my favorite debunks with crude math. Welcome, IIvy. This time I will do something debunking. Just me, in my room with my TV screen, looking at the camera. It relieves the stress on Ned, and it is something I wanted to do for a long time. And who knows? Perhaps I will get good at this. Beside what I do here, I am also a professional reader, and from this perspective, I have also read the Bible. And there is so much wrong with this book, I really don't know where to start. Between all of the utter nonsense in the Bible, one of these fairy tales is the story of Noah's Ark. When it comes to Noah's flood, that has been debunked in all sort of ways, by people from different backgrounds. Like, for example, how did the koalas and kangaroos from Australia, or the llamas from South America come to the Ark, and how did they get back? Where did all the food for these animals come from? Where did all the feces of these animals go? Another debunk is about inbreeding the world population by incest from a handful of people. The likes of Kent Hovind have invented all kinds of idiotic theories about this, but I want to use a different approach. So we talk about a global, earth-covering flood, right? Let us take a look what the Bible says about that. Noah entered the ark in his 600th year, and on the 17th day of the 2nd month of that year. Stop. Noah being 600 years in a time when the average lifespan was 45 years? Yeah, right. But there is another thing wrong here. According to Answers in Genesis, the flood began approximately 4,359 years ago in the year 1656 AM, or 2,348 BC. Where it comes to months, they didn't have months back then. They measured all in moon cycles. And the first time the term months became of use was in 45 BC when Julius Caesar ordered a calendar consisting of 12 months based on a solar year. This calendar employed a cycle of 3 years of 365 days, followed by a year of 366 days, a leap year. When first implemented, the Julian calendar also moved the beginning of the year from March 1st to January 1st. But let us continue with the current Bible version. The fountains of the great deep burst apart and the floodgates of heaven broke open, and rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights until the highest mountains were covered 15 cubits, and all earth-based life perished. Floodgates, 4,000 years ago in a desert country? Okay, perhaps they had floodgates back then, but 40 days of rain will not rise the sea level one bit. After all, rain is evaporated water from the seas falling down again. Besides, 40 days of rain is not even enough to fill an average lake. There is absolutely no evidence of a global flood. The whole debunk will only cost about 95 seconds. If you want, you can time this. Starting now. Let's make a crude calculation in the metric system. No Humpty Dumpty imperial measurements. The total surface of a sphere is 4 times pi r square. We know the circumference of the Earth is 40,000 kilometers. So that the radius of the Earth is 6,366 kilometers. That make the surface 4 times pi times 6,366 square, and that is about 509 million square kilometers. To keep it simple, the highest point of the Earth, Mount Everest, is 8,000 meters, and that is 8 kilometers. We know the Earth has 14 billion cubic kilometers of water and has been constant for the past billion years. Reference www.unwater.org/statistics_res.html. To flood the Earth, you need to raise the sea level by 8 kilometers, that is 8 times 509 million cubic kilometers, and that is 4,072 million cubic kilometers of extra water on top of the 14 billion cubic kilometers water the Earth already had. Suppose heavy rains give 100 centimeter, which is 1 meter, 24 hours in a day in rainfall. So 8,000 meters of rain would take 8,000 days and nights of rain, and that is 21.9 years. Again, it is a crude calculation. I can be off 10%, but it is still a ridiculous amount of water and a ridiculous amount of time. And think of this, so much extra clear water added to the sea would have killed 99% of the ocean life, and this raises a few new questions. Number 1, where did all this water come from? Number 2, where did it go to after the flood? Answer: it is impossible. The Great Flood is a myth. Stop the timer. Exactly 95 seconds. This is the first of a 2-part series. If you want to see me do more of this stuff, leave a comment below. Welcome back, I am IIvy, and again, I will do something debunking. Like last time, just me, in my room with my TV screen, looking at the camera, doing what I do best. This time, the math has been done by Dr. William Morgan. He has an MA in Political Science, and PhD in History from the University of Southern California. As now and then I stumble over people that really believe the Exodus story, like what happened in the movie The 10 Commandments, literally took place. The whole story around Moses' fairy tale stuff, when you do the math you can see how ridiculous the whole logistics of this myth are. And because Americans still hang to their silly traditions that keep them from entering the rest of the world, I will use the Humpty Dumpty imperial standard this time. Come on USA, adopt the metric system, and join the sensible countries. First, we have the parting of the Red Sea. The supposed freed slaves, including livestock, numbered like 2 million people and animals. This is a line of 800 miles long. To lead this crowd through a parted Red Sea would have cost 35 days and nights. Suppose the Red Sea parted for 3 miles wide, and people would walk in the rows of 5,000 would still take a full day, but that still, without the livestock. This raises several questions. Number 1. 2 million people wandered around for 40 years in an area of 23,000 square miles. Why did they leave absolutely no trace at all? Number 2. To feed these 2 million people, tons and tons of food will be needed. At 1,500 tons of food per day, that is 2 freight trains a mile long. Where did that come from? Number 3. To cook this food they would need 4,000 tons of wood, that is 4 trains a mile long. Again, where did this come from? Number 4. They would need 11 million gallons of water, that is a tanker train of 11 miles long. I think you guessed the question here. Number 5. They would need a camping spot of the size of the state of Rhode Island. Well, let us say the Sinai Desert is big, but still, it is a freaking desert. The numbers I have used are according to the Quartermaster General of the American Army. The fairy tale went, God sent manna from heaven. If this really would have come from above, the raining down in the quantities needed for all these people and livestock would be like a constant bombardment and killing all of them on impact in a few days. And I ask you again, why is it that all of this left absolutely no archaeological trace in the Sinai Peninsula at all? The Israeli government had all reason to search for evidence of this event, and archaeologists went through the area with a fine-tooth comb, satellite imaging, and ground penetration radar. And they found absolutely nothing. Face it, the Exodus of the Bible is made up. It's a myth. So far, this was a 2-part series. If you want to see me do more of this stuff, leave a comment below.
Again, I will debunk something that seriously pisses me off. And it is the statement of flat earth activist JM Truth, that the sun has to be local, because in space there is no oxygen to allow it to burn. So he says, the sun is a burning object floating under the celestial dome. First, behind me, you can see the mathematical formula to calculate the volume of a sphere. Further on, we will use the data provided by the Flat Earth Wiki website. There it states, the sun is a revolving sphere. It has a diameter of 32 miles and is located approximately 3,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. Because we use the metric system, 32 miles equals 51.2 kilometers for the diameter of this flat Earth sun. Using the formula, or just a calculator website, we get the result that the volume of the flat Earth sun would come to 70 cubic kilometers. To give an impression to the Americans and their Humpty Dumpty empirical scale, 1 cubic kilometer is a cube with edges of 3,281 feet, or 1,093 yards, and is about 0.7 of a cubic mile. This is a fucking big cube. And the flat Earth sun is supposed to hold almost 70 of these. If we take JM Truth's assertion that the sun burns, which needs oxygen, it needs something to combust. So let us take oil, the most popular on Earth, as fuel. In this case, the sun would have 70 cubic kilometers of oil to burn before it runs out of fuel. Now, let us go to the global oil consumption per year, and take the average over a period of 100 years. In 2019, that was 31 billion barrels, or 5 of these cubic kilometers of oil. This will give us a crude average of 4 cubic kilometers of oil burned for our energy needs per year. For 70 cubic kilometers of oil, it will take 70 divided by 4 equals 17.5 years to burn. Next, we go to AnswersInGenesis.com, owned by evangelist Ken Ham, where it states that the Earth is 6,000 years old. Yeah, like we believe that crap. So according to this number of years, the sun would have been extinguished 5,982 years and 6 months ago. I wonder how we made it all this time without sunlight, in the dark? But as we notice every day, the sun still shines, right? Yes, of course it does. Simply because the sun is not a fucking burning ball, dangling under an imaginary dome, over an imaginary pizza-shaped Earth. If an anime girl like me can calculate this, how smart does this make the flat Earth believers that haven't even thought of this thing? By the way, even if I was 300% off, the outcome would be quite the same. Thank you for your attention and support. Me and Nad wish you a great Christmas and the best wishes for 2021, and I hope to see you then for more debunks by Crude calculations.